Hey everybody, welcome to the course. I'm so glad you decided to be here. Let's jump right into it. First thing we're going to learn is how to build a watermark. A lot of you guys have asked me this over and over and over, so I thought I better include it in this course. I went through this course, with a couple of students, and before I made it an official course, we worked through things, and I'd always go through it in reverse order. So I started with the ending here, and I thought, well, surely they know how to get to here, so I'll just skip through all this stuff, and then boom. And then they'd say, well, how do you do that? And then how do you do this thing before that? And then right? So let's start with the end in mind, but we'll start at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by building a watermark specifically for the purpose of putting into an action, and then we're going to build that action specifically with the purpose of compressing these photos, resaving these photos into a smaller file size that we can upload super fast. So it's just going to be a 3-step process here. There's a 4th step where we actually upload, and I show you that on Zenfolio. You can skip that if you're not into Zenfolio, but even if you're not, there might be some cool tricks that you learn that you can implement into your website. A lot of them work the same or similar. First things first, what is a watermark? Let's get this clear right now. I don't have the official definition of a watermark off the top of my head, didn't look it up. The important thing is a watermark is like a semi-transparent thing that is on top of an image or a document. In our case here, what we're talking about, we're going to build a watermark so people cannot take a screenshot of your picture when it's on your website. Now, some people try to use watermark and logo as the same thing, and you can use your logo as a watermark, but a logo is like here for all these images. I use this text-based logo. Like Wildfire, they might make, this is their logo, right? So a logo here, like Aperture, this is their company name, but this is their logo here. So Aperture could take that A that they have as their logo, and they can make it semi-transparent, put it on top of a document. That's a watermark. So when we do stuff like a legal document or some kind of like a text-based document, it might say example or sample or do not copy or something like that, right? So that's like a watermark. You can still read the text just fine, even though there's another layer of text plastered over it. It's so close to semi-transparent. It's so close to being transparent that you barely see it. You can see it if you look for it. You can see past it if you want to see past it. So that's a watermark, not a logo. Logo you can use as a watermark. That's where it gets kind of a gray area. So how will we use it? We're going to use this watermark in an action, like I said, and we're going to put that action into a process, into a program that's like a plug-in kind of. It comes with Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, then you probably aren't going to love this course, but there's probably some other ones that do a similar thing. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to tell Photoshop to make our images really small and then put this watermark on it, and then we're going to upload it to the website. So why do we put the watermark on now as opposed to letting our website do that? Almost every photo website on the planet is going to have a feature where it lets you put a watermark on your photos as you upload them. So you can upload clean images without a watermark, and it'll put it on there before the people see it, right? So you can do that if you want to, and if that's what you want to do, feel free to skip this section and part of the next section. But what we want to do is I put it on there because I have a whole crew of people that work for me, and when we're at an event, there's customers breathing down their neck, things have to happen fast, and when we get in a rush, we get in the zone, we get into a rhythm of doing things, and we're in a hurry, accidents happen. So when you look at this, you'll see when you jump into, after we've gone through the last step here before we upload, you'll see that the images straight out of camera generally have a capital JPG, capital JPEG, or they're a RAW file. I shoot mostly JPEGs for what I do. So when we compress these photos, when we resave them as a smaller file size, they actually have a lowercase JPG. So it's hard to catch that, and it's hard to tell on the screen that they're low res. So when you go to print, if your things are happening fast and going crazy and you accidentally grab one of those, you throw it in Lightroom, you go to print it, it's gonna look terrible when you print it. So I've had that happen way too many times, and they call me in a panic, and I'm trying to shoot pictures out in the arena and I can't help them. And then we realize later, usually pretty quickly, that they've actually just grabbed a low res file. But by that time they've wasted maybe half an hour, maybe they've printed it a whole bunch of times. So not only have they wasted time, they've wasted some materials, which is, you know, it all costs money, right? So in an effort to circumvent that problem, I just post the watermark, I plaster it right on there as we condense. So when I just call it condense, but really we're just resaving the photos here. So when we save them as a smaller file size, that logo, that watermark goes right on it, and there's no question that they accidentally grabbed the wrong file. So they can still, you know, put it into Lightroom, but as soon as they pull it up in Lightroom, it's got that watermark on it, and it's obvious. Duh, that's what I did. They go back, they find the real file that they meant to do, and then move on. So they wasted maybe 45 seconds instead of 45 minutes, right? So you don't need one. You don't have to do that. If you are the only one who is processing your files, then great, no problem. But if you have employees, I highly suggest, or even if you feel like you might screw this up, do it, right? Just go ahead and go for it. If not, you can either, maybe you'll never have that problem, maybe you're more on the ball than we are, but it happens, you know? So why not just learn from my mistakes, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Let's open up Photoshop, and I'll walk you through the process. Let's jump right into the computer.